for the sake of me, this phone can just stand. I can't wait for the phone holder to be here. This is such a nice angle, but I can't just be holding it the whole time because I'm reviewing a whole book. The book is called A Little Life. I picked it up from the Instagram box, or is it a book talk? One of the recommendations were like people had read it. I didn't know like how sad it could get because I've been through a lot in life, and sometimes I'm like, the stories can be that bad. Like, how bad can it be? Like, it kept on getting bad. It kept on getting worse and worse. I'm like 50 pages till I finished the book, but I'm like, oh my god, this is like the saddest shit I've ever read. The story in the book, let me cover in the, I want to like do some reviews on terms of the themes in the book, what are they highlighting, and then like things that stood out for me. Now, one, the book is about a story about a group of friends who are all artists. I am an artist. If I didn't do medicine, I'd definitely be in the artistic industry. Even whatever I'm doing now is artistic. That's what I wanna say, because, well, I have an eye for art. I do my things in a certain way, not the normal way people do things, and that's what captivated me about the authors, about the characters in the book. The author of the book is somebody I'll put on the cover page after my intro, or in my intro, when I do my intro. So what stood out to me in the book was like, it was St. Jude. This was a guy who was he adopted? No, he was raised, and then the mom threw the baby into a bin. I think that was the story, if I'm not like mixing it up. St. Jude was born in a bin and then was raised in a Catholic setup in the seminar with the brothers. There's a brother that he kept on talking about, but then in the is it called an academy though? I don't know what they call it. It's not called an academy. Where the it's a seminary. The Catholics know it better. A Catholic setup. So in that place he was mistreated. Already he had his abandonment wound, so he had a lot going on for him. I feel like the guy went through a lot, and he didn't have to because he was just a small boy. For the sake of me, this phone can start up today, and I just want to be done with this review. I've been saying like I want to do book reviews. My friend was like, where's the book review? Have you done it? I'm like, oh, I don't have a nice background to shoot on. And then my friend was like, no, make a draft, don't post it. I want to see the draft right now. So my friend was like, you just lack an accountability partner. And I'll be asking you every time we meet, I'll ask you, have you done the review yet? Anyway, my time was a bit fixed. I was going through a lot at the moment. My mom has been sick for a longest time, and I didn't think like that would take a toll on me. But I'm back to my radio. I'm back to being myself, and we thank the Lord. So back to St. Jude. This guy was raised in a seminary. I don't know what to call it, in those Catholic brothers. But then some things used to happen to him that really broke my heart. Most of the punishments that he was given was he was being molested or being even raped by the guys over there. Yeah. So most of the people there would just be crying. Oh, my sister is here. Look at her. Look at my sister over there. Say hi to the camera. Yeah, she's the one I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
I just saw my cat down here and I'm from feeding it.
Ma'am, you want to come inside? You want to come inside?
Hey. Yeah, back to the review. So many things happened to the guy when he was in the seminary where he was raised by the brothers. They were like big fathers or something, and they would rape him, like grape him, literally. That was so heartbreaking to me. And he was a little boy, they were grown men. One of his punishments was that apparently there was one of the fathers, I can't remember the name, the fathers that could would be kind to him sometimes. And then there was a day that they could console him, bring him food, bring him a nice treat, but he just wouldn't trust them. So after a long time, their father was like, I'll let you like move out. No, we'll move out from the seminary and we'll go live in our own space. So St. Jude was happy as a little boy. Finally, he got out of that place where everybody thought he was being rude. I don't know why he always got into trouble. He could just do something small and then he could just get into trouble. So a time came, they moved out with the father. I don't remember the name too well. I don't know why I'm forgetting it. Was it Harriet? No, those were friends like he met later. There was a father that he moved out with and went to stay with outside the seminary. So they literally ran away in one night. He was told like pack your things and they were leaving. So he finally felt like he's getting the life that he wanted because the guy was nice to him all the time. But things changed immediately they left that place. Nobody looked for him from the place, but the father could be like, oh, someone is looking for me. Oh my god, why the fuck would you just not hold on? I don't want to hold it because I feel like the video will be too long. Now I have to cut out these parts again. Anyway, so the father would just they moved out and then they were like, oh, we look for cabin house and then we stay together for the longest time. Oh gosh, I have to delete this old shit. Oh, we're just moving together and then you'll have your own room, things will be okay, you'll go back to school. He loved reading, so everything looked so lucrative. That didn't happen when they moved out. So they didn't have money. The so-called father, were from the seminary place, from the orphanage where he was raised, decided to like, we need money. So what are we gonna do to get money? Can you imagine what happened? That guy would sign up that little boy to be gripped. I don't know. He accepted it because he thought it's gonna be for a short duration, so they get their funds, and then no, it didn't happen. They started coming in over and over and over. He could count even like up to 50 men that he had to sleep with just to keep up with the rent. And then he had a dream of building a house, like a cabin in the middle of the woods, and then he could go back to school. So in his little mind, he was like, I'll just do this for the time being, and then when things get better, I'll just do it. We'll just have our own life, and then I'm just doing temporarily. It wasn't new to him because that was something that was happening back there in those where he used to stay in the orphanages with those fathers in the seminary. Oh, it's a convent. I found the right term. It's a convent. That became so sad because he slept with so many men. Some were bad to him and he carried all the wounds. But then, oh my god, that was so sad. I know sometimes the guy who took him out of the seminary started even gripping him again. He forced him to sleep with him. Some things that was so heartbreaking for me. Why would you do that? That was so heartbreaking for me most of the time. So he just accepted it. Till one time, they were just asleep. The police came. They arrested the guy. To arrest the guy. Before the guy was arrested, he killed himself, and that was like the end of the story. So the little boy moved to a different city, just started traveling to get out of that place. On the way there, he could do the same things just to get money, to even get food along the way with the truck drivers. That was so heartbreaking to me. Like, what? It just kept on getting bad, worse and worse. There's a time where he stopped a truck that could leave him somewhere. So he took the truck, and then the guy was like, where are you going? Little boy, where are you going? And then the guy was like, you're so sick. I think you got an infection from things you've been doing on the road. So what have you been doing? Apparently he was a doctor. Oh, he was actually a professional doctor, not like a Dr. Quack. He was a doctor. Took him to his place, locked him in the underground door where he could just access food. He could bring him food in the morning and then keep him locked for such a long time. And then the same shit happened to him. He was again molested with the same guy that rescued him from that situation. This book broke me in so many ways. Like, I know people go through a lot in life, but it made me view life differently. It could be it's a fictional book, but there's so many lessons onto it. Like, that's why I highlighted some of the things. Something that was about mental health. That is a topic that I hold dear to my heart. That's a topic that I hold dear to my heart, the mental health part. Because now, with everything that was going on in St. Francis' life, he carried burdens with him. He couldn't forgive himself. He always felt like he was filthy. And there was a time where, just going forward, so the whole review couldn't be too long, where he moved, he tried to run away from that man who was keeping him underground. He ran over him with a car, and that is where he got his medical condition. I can't even talking about it. I think my brain had just filtered all this, because now talking about it again, it reminds me of the emotions that I had when I was reading the book. That was so sad. So he moved, he went back to college. No, he moved from the city. He did go ahead and create a life for himself. He made new friends, Harold, William, a bunch of friends from work also. He did grow up and he did go back to school and become a lawyer. And that was like the saddest part. I don't know why I'm getting even sad talking about this story now. I can't go on and on. He made friends as an adult, and the friends were like so good to him, but he still felt like he wasn't enough. He dated someone. He later in life, when he was a grown person, he dated someone, and the person mistreated him so bad that even the friends were like, "Oh, St. Jude, you're such a bright person. Why would you allow someone to do that? To do that to you?" The guy was like, people like me just accept whatever life offers. That was so bad. Why would you just accept what? Never felt so bad for a person. Oh gosh. He from the accident, he developed complications. He was sick most of his life. The story just kept on getting sadder and sadder and sadder. But finally he met friends, a clique of friends. There were like 5 friends or something that were so good to him. Even one of them fell in love with him. They dated for some time, but he struggled through all the dating life because of the molesting that was happening when he was a kid. His whole life was just, he felt he was filthy. He felt like he didn't deserve anything. He didn't deserve anything nice. So my own takeaway from the point was, we do carry our burdens. Again, I talked this about in my previous video. Gabor Mate talks about the prime years where you carry your own trauma from the age of 0 to 10 years. That's when that is the trauma you're gonna carry that to your adulthood. So he had left his life. He had built a good life. He was a big lawyer. He was earning good money. He could afford a good house finally. But still, things from his past could just keep on haunting him, to a point where he could just cut his arms. He was cutting himself just to relieve the stress, even after achieving everything that he had. There was a time he tried to commit suicide, but his friends caught him. And when he was it wasn't successful, but the only thing he was regretting was it not being successful. Make it make sense to me. Yeah, the only thing oh gosh. He also met a good friend who was a doctor who was looking after him. He could notice these cuts over and over, but he could cut himself, but the doctor was so sympathetic. He could dress his wounds and try not to take him to a mental hospital, because he knew he was going through something, but he didn't know the extent to which. finally he did know, like, the whole story of what was happening, what was going on with his life, but mostly it was the wounds he was carrying from the past, because at the moment he was doing so well in life. One of the friends fell in love with him. They started dating. There were people who, I forgot about Harold, a couple that wanted to adopt him. That thing didn't sit right with him because he wasn't used to people being nice to him. So he thought, like, maybe even the people who wanted to adopt him would still want to sleep with him. He was a male. He was molested on his life. And at some point he felt like, oh, did my friends pay this person to be nice to me? Like, all of a sudden, why are you being nice to me? Jude telling William about Caleb. Jude was telling, there's something I'd noted down here. So the book was about Jude telling William about Caleb. Why does he insist on revisiting and replaying the events that took place a long time ago? He didn't want to talk about it because he had settled, and then he thought, he just didn't. Oh gosh, that was so bad to me. The book was sad. I don't know. It puts you in a different story because right now, even staying with the kids, or if you pick kids from the orphanage, just know they come with their baggages. They come with baggages that they carry with them. They don't feel good enough. They always walk around with the abandonment wound. That was like what stood out to me. The mental health issue of him cutting himself over and over again. He could cut himself literally till he could pass out at some point. And there was a time where he was like ready to even end it all, because what was the essence of living? Life became better. They dated with the friend for a long time. They did have a home, but there was no happy ending. But at least he knew how to handle it later. But what? That was the saddest thing that I've ever read in my life.